Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Diesel, doing a little bit more tinkering on our Hilux. You can see a lot of it's sort of getting back together. We've got the intake on, the E-jar cooler, the elbow, and you know, the E-jar valve end of things, right? Looking better than what they usually do before, right? But like I said, you might see a few black specks because I said stop cleaning, it's good enough, right? It's just going to get a little bit dirty again, a bit oily, and a little bit of blackness, just not a build-up. It's going to stay nice and clear so it can breathe. But the E-jar system will be still functioning, of course, just maybe at a more reduced flow so that it doesn't cake up, you know, a bit more of a balanced approach. But however, we've still got to, obviously, what we're going to do now is get those fuel pipes on. Once we get the fuel pipes on, a few other bits and pieces, get the wiring loom back over the top, the throttle body, the intercooler, some other bits, a whole heap of bits and pieces really down the side there. And then the bad news is that drive shaft, there was supposedly one left in Australia. Well, guess what? There wasn't. So it's 3 weeks. We only want genuine. So to get a genuine drive shaft in a Hilux at the moment, they're coming from Japan, 3 weeks hopefully. So we're going to have to go back to plan A. Plan A was get this drive shaft out and just swap the boot over. We've got one off a Prado, but the boot should be the same. It's part of the R&T. We're about to find out what the difference between the Prado and Hilux. I haven't really compared them before, but I have used aftermarket boots that were listed on Hiluxes for the inner because you couldn't get it for the Prado, so I ordered a Hilux one, and well, it was the same. It worked anyway, right? And I'm pretty sure these are going to be the same. I just want that boot, so we're going to get that boot off this old shaft, but there's nothing wrong with the actual boot, and we're going to put it onto this original shaft. You can see the problem we demonstrated in part 1. If you haven't seen part 1, part 2, part 3, go and watch those first. I think I've put it into a bit of a playlist. It might even be called Our Hilux or Working on Our Hilux or something like that. And what we found was somebody's really butchered up the end of it here, right? They've really had a good go at it, and it was hard to get the nut off. We're hoping that, so this is the plan, right? So, you know, it sort of goes from, this is what we were working on, and then we went upstairs because we were waiting a day for a drive shaft. That was just to fill in time. Now we find out we can't get the drive shaft for 3 weeks, so we're back down here again, back to plan A, and that is, hopefully we can get all this apart without damaging anything permanently, because then I've been all sorts of strife if we can't get it back together. But hopefully it comes apart like it should without absolutely hammering the nuts out of it like someone has on that end right there. Let's not have to do that. Then we'll get the shaft apart, we'll get the boot off, we'll get the other boot on there. We might quickly, maybe not show you how to do it because we've probably got it in other videos, but we'll go through quickly how to do that. We'll get this shaft back together with a new boot on it, get it all back together, get all the oils back into it, do the transmission flush, and we can get it mobile because it'll all be finished up here, so we can take it outside so we can complete the BFE, because we decided since we dropped the coolant to do the E-jar cooler to do the manifold, then we might as well bring the BFE job forward as well because it wasn't sort of due for it. I was going to do it a bit later. It didn't really look like it was leaking, but the belt was old and whatever. It's had an aftermarket rubbish one put on there. Anyway, get the BFE because we want it outside so that we can do that reverse flush all the muck out of the radiator and condenser and whatever here, right? So that's where it's at. We've got to get some parts. We're going to replace some of the diff plugs and washers and all that sort of stuff. So that's where we're at the moment. We're going to get the pipes back on and get the rest of this thing up here back together, and we'll get some of that done. I'll come back to you, let you know any other complications we've had, any butchery that we've found, anything we fixed up, and any other information that might help you. Oh mate, stop wasting my oil. Look at it. Oh, there's heaps in there. Look at it all overflowing. Look at it. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Grotty thing, we'll clean it up. Anyway, so we've gone back underneath the vehicle, under the bonnet. It's get boring up there because it's all back together. We put some nice new plugs in the transfer case because, yeah, you know, someone had to butcher those up for us, whatever. You know, they're not too bad. The ones under the diff, remember, they weren't too bad, so, you know, they're not too good. I reckon someone had a hit at that, maybe. But anyway, not too bad. Anyway, the filler plug capped in there. We've got a new filler plug because that one was a bit butchered up. Got a new drain plug as well. I think we did the Coleman upgrade, didn't we? If I remember correctly. Let's have a look at that one. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. The 24mm kaon.com.au if you want one of those. And we put the standard genuine filler plug in. I think it was pretty cheap. It was only $5 or $10 or something, and the washers are a couple of bucks. New washers and all that. All right, now I just want to tell you something. If I'm not saying you need to do this, but we're going to do an auto fluid flush initially, and then after a few months, what I might actually do is, this A340 transmission, they're not as good as the A750. I'm not saying they're bad, but they're not as good in my opinion. I have heard of a few problems. A few people do have problems with them. Now, even though I say you don't need to remove the pan on the 750s because they're like bulletproof, just change the oil, I'm still happy with that. But on these, and this is, I haven't told you this yet, it's probably almost worth doing what you could call a transmission service. And I'm not worried about the filter becoming blocked, but if you're going to take the pan off, then you're going to replace sealant or gaskets as necessary. You're going to clean it all up. You're going to clean the magnets. Bing! That's what I'm talking about. So the magnet's job is really important because it picks up all the really fine particles. And by picking up those fine particles, it stops those particles getting into solenoids, causing problems with solenoids, which can happen traditionally in transmissions and in these. So if you're going to drop the pan and do that, you can still drop the oil out first, you know, drain plug, happy days. But this dipstick, because you've got the dipstick here, see there's a joint in the dipstick. The reason there's a joint there is for exactly that purpose, right? So you can loosen off the bolts of the dipstick at the top or not. There's different ways to do things, but that's, you want to make sure this is clean here. See that joint there? Make sure it's really clean so you don't get any dirt falling into the tube. Not that it's going to really matter because you're going to clean it anyway, but then you want to make sure it's clean. So if you're pulling the pan off, which we're not doing that at the moment, I want to see the conditioner oil, give it a flush, see what it's like, see if it makes any improvement, and then at a later date when I'm getting fastidiously fussy, because it's a, you know, it's a 340, I might be inclined to drop the pan, and we may do a bit of an auto service. In this case, all the service would be is dropping the pan, cleaning it, cleaning the magnets, putting new oil in anyway, right? So this one's more of a flush, and then once we're happy with that, we might have a whole separate video on servicing or dropping the pan on a 340 transmission, the 4-speed. Anyway, what else have we got to do here? We've got to get this, all this back together, this arrangement, get it back on the road so we can drive the thing. Oh, look at this, see? This is the story, guys. I don't know if I told you already. Oh my God, hopefully we can get this back together because it's 3 weeks. 3 weeks. I reckon, hang on, just stop there. I reckon we're going to put some grease on it and hit it with a gun. Or, oh my God. This car's going to be stuck with no drive shaft unless we want to go for aftermarket. It's going to be 3 weeks till we can get a shaft. So we went, we'll just put the nut back on. But I told you, it's been butchered. Absolutely butchered. So we're going to have to get hands on here and find a way to get this to go back on. All right, so we've got a plan. We're going to take it off. Now what we're going to, well, I'll show you this while he does that. Let's put some grease on the thread so you can have a look at it, right? They've just butchered it and you can see they've filed it to try and fix their butcherism, and they've got it on. So if they've got it on, we can get it on. But this is exactly why I went from going, let's save the shaft, we'll just chuck a boot off one of the other shafts. Just put a heap of grease on there, mate. Go, make sure it's all, yeah, that's it. Lubrication, guys, is going to keep it cool and help it to slide top, bottom, all around. I don't care how messy it gets. At the end of the day, we want to be able to get it off again next time as well. We want to get it on so that we can get the vehicle mobile for 3 weeks. Okay, so it's going to run around with this, that thing, for 3 weeks before we get a new shaft in there. So we've got to make sure we get it on nice and square, get it started. It does get started. It is hard to get it square, but we made sure that, was it, you reckon that's it? Let me have a look. Yeah, you reckon? Oh, yeah, I reckon. Yeah, no, maybe. We probably could even file it more, but creating work for ourselves, aren't we? Do you reckon? Oh, I don't know, man. Hang on, I've got to put the camera down and have a look. We've got to have a double 100% opinion on this. This is butcherous at our best. So we confirmed that both of us believe that it is started, but it's like about half a turn. So we're going to go a little bit more. You can see it turning by hand with a tool. And it wouldn't even go that far. Now, I reckon we're wasting our time to keep doing it by hand. I reckon, just get the gun, mate. Let's risk it. We're going to risk it for the biscuit on video. That's what we call it. Put it on the lowest setting on the gun so we just know that we haven't gone full power yet, because it's going to probably make it look really easy anyway. Maybe. Let's see. Watch your fingers trying to hold it. I reckon just on and off the trigger with the gun. Just go boop, boop, boop. How does it feel? Does it feel really tight?
Mid tight.
Mid. Hit it. Just hit it. I don't think it's going on, mate.
What is this? One's only about 100 newtons.
Yeah,
it has to go past this first before it goes on.
Yeah, I reckon we're spinning on the spot. I reckon we're going to be cutting the end off in a minute. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's going. Oh mate. I reckon that's sort of half stuffed, mate. Stop. I reckon that's just... I don't know if we're going to be able to get that off again, yeah.
Still gets off.
This is ridiculous. Mate, these guys, mate, who did this? Like, okay, we're being butchers here. You know we're replacing the shaft. That's why I just cracked it and went, I want a new shaft. Just had to be Murphy's Law that isn't one available. And you know what? That nut was so tight, wasn't it? This gun's 500 Newton meters, and it couldn't get it undone. We were there for ages. We had to spray it, and the gun eventually got it undone, but it was hard work. One of the tightest nuts ever, yes. Do you reckon, for this gun? Yeah. Yep. So anyway, that's how tight it was. I was getting a bit concerned there that it wasn't, but it's obviously all the end. Do not whack the end of any shafts, guys. Doesn't matter what you're working on when it comes to mechanical. If there's a bolt that retains something or things, I don't know, it's when something's dirty and it doesn't want to come out, you can't just smash the end of it, because what it does, it sort of just bulges it up, and this is what happens, and you may never get it out. I'll give you a good example, right? Okay, lawnmowers, okay, because they get all the rust and the dirt and all the corrosion and crap underneath. And then when you've got to rebuild a lawnmower, you've got to pull these shafts out, the bottom case or whatever coming over the crankshaft or that shaft, whatever it is, if you know what I mean, you really need to clean it up and really file it down, clean it up, whatever you want to do, whatever tools you want, before you try and get it out. Because once you start trying to get it out, it can get stuck, and then you're going to find people that want to start bashing it like this, and you're just thickening up the material, and it's never going to come out. So anyway, we're going to get this back together. This is all temporary. Let's talk this up to how many Newton? What do you reckon, mate? About 235 will probably do the job.
Yep.
But it was overdone before, so this bearing may temporarily fail. But like we were going to swap the shaft over, a bit of R&TU. I haven't decided yet, but I'm probably going to reuse the bearing. We'll get it together with a new shaft. Watch your head there, mate. And we'll see what happens, but we're not going to hit the shaft for 3 weeks, so stay tuned, bell on, subscribe, you know, all that business. Give us a thumbs up. We're going to get this back together here so that we can get the vehicle mobile to complete the BFE job. We need it out of the workshop to do that radiator flush. There, we're inside at the moment. We need to be outside for that, and then we're going to warm it up and do a transmission flush, all part of this series of videos. All the most important things I would do to my Hilux within days of getting it back to the Prado Hospital. A Hilux in the Prado Hospital? Maybe we need a Hilux. I'm thinking about a Prado Hilux engine replacement hospital. How does that sound? Let us know in the comments. It'll be somewhere in regional Victoria. Anyway, guys, butcherism as it is, there's not much we can do until we get a new drive shaft. Thanks for watching. I think that could be a video. Unless we see something else exciting, stay tuned for part 5.